you were going to tell me last time about when you left Enid. By this time, your family was, and you moved to Colorado
Yes.
for a short time. And how many children were there in the family by that time?
There were 6 of us.
Okay, 6. And your mother was pregnant at the time you left for Colorado, is that right?
Well, probably not. She probably became pregnant in Colorado.
Okay, well, they didn't stay in Colorado for very long.
We were
So
there
why don't you
for
tell
a
us
school year.
Yeah, tell the story of what happened. Why did you go and why did you come back?
We went to Colorado because it was a good place to get work for the summer, picking fruit and picking, fields of tomatoes on the south side of Colorado, south and east a bit, and so we picked tomatoes one summer. Then we went back to Enid. The second summer we didn't pick tomatoes, but we went into the fruit orchards and got a lot of picking done for the owners of the orchards. And so we just stayed there in Colorado, thinking that perhaps it would be a nice place to live. And we didn't plan to go back to Oklahoma. But my mother became pregnant, and after some months, she was quite heavy with child by the end of the school year. And the doctor told her that she needed to get back to low altitude because he thought she might have problems during the delivery if she stayed there in Colorado. So,
do you remember what town or city it was in Colorado?
We lived at Montrose, Colorado, and that was what they called in those days the Western Slope.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of elevation there.
Yes, and we had enjoyed being there. We children went to the church school and had a good teacher there, and we enjoyed living out there. Well, we had to do what the doctor suggested for my mother's sake, and so we went back to Oklahoma. My mother said, may as well go back to Oklahoma, because if we have to go in a low altitude place here in Colorado, it's not going to look any different than Oklahoma. So we went on back to Oklahoma, and within a few weeks of arrival back in Oklahoma, my mother delivered the baby, a little girl who weighed almost 10 pounds, but the child did not survive. Scarcely a day she survived.
Did she have a name?
And we named her Peggy Joe. I had 2 distant cousins, and these were the ones that they were really upset when they heard that the baby had died. And they said, oh, that's so sad. And they wanted to have their names used for that baby. One of those girls was Peggy, and the other was Ethel Joe.
Oh.
So we called the baby Peggy Joe.
Yeah. And you were?
And I was 12 years old then.
You were 12, okay. So by then, of course, Ivan would have been 6, I guess, wouldn't he?
He would have been 6.
Yeah. So you spent just a year, just about a year in Colorado.
Yes, we spent just about a year.
Did they think that the living at altitude had an effect on your mother's pregnancy and maybe why she lost the baby? Or why she didn't live?
It's possible. It was a difficult journey for her in an old 28 Chevrolet, riding over the mountains. Roads weren't as good then as they are nowadays. And so I think it was very hard on her.
Yeah.
And the baby was born probably 2 to 3 weeks after we got back to Oklahoma.
Don't have any idea, do you, whether the baby had any abnormalities or birth defects or anything that could have been caused by the journey, or
we were never made aware of anything.
Yeah.
To look at her, and only briefly did we children see her. My parents had seen her at a closer up view than we did. But she, looked normal to look at, though we only saw her after she died.
I was going to ask, did you see her alive?
No, we didn't see her alive.
Did your mom and dad?
My mother and father did.
Saw her. It must have been just so heartbreaking for them.
So she had a good crop of dark hair. But she was a heavier baby than any that my mother had before.
Yeah. Well, that would have been your little sister.
Yeah. And if she were living now, she'd be 80 years old.
Yeah. That's kind of cool to think of, If she had, you would have had maybe a sister around. Did your mom, was that the only other girl that was born to your mother? Or did she ever have
There was another girl that was born when I was going on 4 years of age.
Okay, that was in Enid.
That was in Enid.
Yeah.
And she died of pneumonia.
How old was she?
She was about 2.5 months.
Oh, so she
was
still
born,
very little. She was an infant.
She was born January 12, and she died, don't remember the exact date, but it was in March.
Yeah. So you were 4 then, so
And
might
I
have
was almost 4.
almost 4. So
Just another 3 weeks.
it probably did make an impression on you, but maybe not as much as when you were 12 and saw Mary Jo. So
And,
sad. Life was hard in those days.
I was so young that I didn't even know that my mother was weeping over the child. Her name was Mary Lou.
Oh.
And so I saw some other family took my mother and father to the funeral place because I guess our car wasn't running not very well, and so they brought my parents, and then our neighbors took us children to the church.
Yeah.
And we got there before my parents did, and then I saw tears, but I didn't know they were tears on my mother's face.
You're so innocent.
And I thought it was because it was snowing and the snow had hit her in the face, and so it had melted.
Yeah.
I'd never seen her cry before.
Yeah, really. Was she quite a stoic person?
My mother was.
Yeah.
So that little sister was buried in Enid, Oklahoma, this big cemetery out there. And since we left Oklahoma in the 1930s, I've never seen that grave.
Wow.
Where was she buried?
In Enid.
You think she has a tombstone?
I don't think she had a tombstone. We probably couldn't afford it then.
Yeah.
There was a marker, but there was no tombstone.
So that would have probably been a wooden marker, or maybe all
a
gone
wood
now.
marker or a metal marker with a
Something.
paper inside it and covered
Oh,
with
yeah,
glass. It might not have survived all these years.
It might not be there now,
Yeah,
but it was Enid.
yeah.
Wow.
Would you like to go and put a tombstone in there so when she's resurrected that she'll know her name and who she is?
Oh, I'm sure an angel will find her.
Yes. The right people will know where she is.
Yeah. They have records there that show where they are buried.
Yeah.
The other sister was buried at Woodward
Uh-huh.
in Grandpa's grave.
Oh,
My grandmother was still living then.
yeah. So when they do that, they just open it up and
Yeah.
put another casket or whatever in there.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off now for a minute.